हेलो गाइस, कैसे आप सब लोग। आई होप सब बढ़िया होंगे। माई सेल्फ सिद्धिकांत सिकवाल और मैं आप सभी का स्वागत करता हूँ हमारा अपना प्यारा सा चैनल SQLJ में इन दी सीरीज ऑफ NCERT रीडिंग लाइन बाय लाइन। और आज हम कवर करने वाले हैं स्ट्रक्चरल ऑर्गेनाइजेशन इन एनिमल्स। उसमें हम बेसिकली 3 टॉपिक कवर करने वाले हैं, एनिमल टिश्यू, फ्लॉग एंड कॉकरोच। तो चलिए क्या शुरू करते हैं बिना वक्त गवाए। In the preceding chapter, you came across a large variety of organisms, both unicellular and multicellular, of the animal kingdom. In unicellular organisms, all functions like digestion, respiration, and reproduction are performed by a single cell. In the complex body of multicellular animals, the same basic functions are carried out by different groups of cells in a well-organized manner. The body of simple organisms like Hydra is made up of different types of cells, and a number of cells in each type can be in thousands. The human body is composed of billions of cells to perform various functions. How do these cells sorry how do these cells in the body work together? In multicellular animals, a group of similar cells along with the intercellular substances perform a specific functions. Such an organization is called as tissue. You may be surprised to know that all complex animal consists of only 4 basic types of tissues. These tissues are organized in a specific proportion and pattern to form an organ like stomach, lungs, heart, and kidney. When two or more organs perform a common function by their physical and or chemical interactions, they together form organ system. Example: digestive system, respiratory system, etc. Cells, tissues, organs, and organ system split up the work in the way that exhibits a division of a labor and contribute to the survival of the body as a whole. 7.1 Animal tissue. The structure of the cells vary according to their functions. Therefore, the tissues are different and are broadly classified into 4 types. Number 1, epithelial. Number 2, connective. Number 3, muscular. And number 4 is a neural. So first, 7.1.1 is epithelial tissue. We commonly refer to an epithelial tissue as a epithelium, that is plural epithelia. This tissue has a free surface which faces either a body fluid or the outside environment, and thus the provided a covering or a lining for some part of the body. The cells are compactly packed with a little intercellular matrix. There are 2 types of epithelial tissues, namely simple epithelium and compound epithelium. Simple epithelium is composed of a single layer of cells and functions as a lining of body cavities, ducts, and the tubes. The compound epithelium consists of a 2 or more cell layers and has a protective function as it does in our skin. On the basis of structural modifications of the cells, simple epithelium is further divided into 3 types. These are squamous, second cuboidal, and third is columnar. The squamous epithelium is made up of a single thin layer of flattened cells with irregular boundaries. They are found in the walls of blood vessels and air sacs of lungs and are involved in the functions like forming a diffusion boundaries. A cuboidous epithelium is composed of a single layer of a cube-like cells. This is commonly found in the ducts of a gland and tubular part of the nephron in kidney, and its main functions are secretion and absorption. The epithelium of a proximal convoluted tubule (PCT) of a nephron sorry PCT of a nephron in the kidney has a microvilli. The columnar epithelium is composed of a single layer of tall and slender cells. Their nuclei are located at the base. Free surface may have microvilli. They are found in the lining of the stomach and the intestine and help in the secretion and absorption. If the columnar or cuboidal cell bear the cilia on their free surface, they are called a ciliated epithelium. Their function is to move the particle or a mucus in a specific direction over the epithelium. They are mainly present in the inner surface of hollow organs like bronchi and fallopian tubes. Some of the columnar or cuboidal cells get specialized for secretion and are called glandular epithelium. They are mainly of two types, that is a unicellular consist, consti- consisting of isolated glandular cells, that is globulate cells of the alimentary canal, and a multicellular consisting of a clusters of cells, that is salivary gland. On the basis of the mode of polling of their secretions, glands are divided into two categories, namely exocrine and endocrine glands. Exocrine sorry exocrine glands secrete mucus, saliva, earwax, oil, milk, digestive enzymes, and all other cells products. These products are released through the ducts or tubes. In contrast, endocrine glands do not have ducts. Their products called hormones are secreted directly into the fluid bathing the gland. Compound epithelium. Compound epithelium is made of more than one layer, that is multi-layered of cells, and thus has a limited role in the secretion and absorption. Their main function is to provide a protection against chemical and mechanical stress. They cover the dry surface of the skin, the moist sorry yeah, the moist surface of the buccal cavity, pharynx, inner lining of a ducts of a salivary gland, and the pancreatic ducts. All cells of all cells in the epithelium are held together with a little intercellular material. In nearly all animal tissues, a specialized junction provides the both structural and the functional links between its individual cells. Three types of cell junctions are found in the epithelium and other tissues. These are called tight junction, adhering junction, and gap junctions. Tight junction help to stop the substances from leaking across a tissue. Adhering junctions perform a cementing to keep neighboring cells together, and gap junctions fasciculate the cells to communicate with each other by connecting the cytoplasm of adjoining cells for rapid transfer of ions, small molecules, and sometimes big molecules. 7.1.2 Connective tissue. Connective tissue are most abundant and widely distributed in the body of complex animals. They are named connective tissue because of their special functions of linking and supporting other tissues or organs of the body. They range from soft connective tissue to specialized types, which included cartilage, bone, adipose, and blood. In all connective tissues except blood, the cells secrete fibers and the structural proteins called collagen or elastin. The fibers provided strength, elasticity, and flexibility to the tissue. These cells also secrete the modified polysaccharides which accumulate between the cells and fibers and act as a matrix, that is ground substance. Connective tissue are classified into three types. That is, first, loose connective tissue, second is a dense connective tissue, and third is specialized connective tissue. First, loose connective tissue has cells and fibers loosely arranged in a semi-fluid ground substance, for example, alveolar tissue present beneath the skin. Often it serves as a support framework for epithelium. It contains a fibroblast, that is cells that produces and secrete fibers, macrophages and mast cells. Adipose tissue is another type of loose connective tissue located mainly beneath the skin. The cells of this tissue are specialized to store fats. The excess of nutrients which are not used immediately are converted into fats and alcohol and are stored in the al- and are stored in this tissue. Sorry. Fibrous and fibroblasts are compactly packed in the dense connective tissue. Orientation of fibers show a regular or irregular pattern and are called dense regular and dense irregular connective tissue. In the dense regular connective tissue, the collagen fibers are present in a lodge between many parallel bundles of fibers. Tendons which attach skeletal muscle to bones and ligaments which attach one bone to another are the examples of this tissue. A dense irregular connective tissue has a fibroblast and many fibers, mostly collagen fibers, that are oriented differently. This tissue is present in the skin. Cartilage, bones, and blood are the various types of a specialized connective tissue. The intercellular material of a cartilage is a solid and pliable on and resists the compression. Cells of this tissue, that is chondrocytes, are enclosed in a small cavities within the matrix secreted by them. Most of the cartilages in the vertebrate embryos are replaced by the bones in adults. Cartilage is present in the tip of a nose, outer ear joints, between adjacent bones of the vertebral column, limbs, and hands in adult. The bones have a hard and non-pliable ground substance rich in calcium salt and collagen fibers which give bone its strength. It is the main tissue that provides a structural frame to the body. Bones support and protect softer tissues and organs. The bone cells, that is osteocytes, are present in the spaces called lacunae. Limb bones, such as the long bones of the legs, serve weight-bearing functions. They also interact with the skeletal muscles attached to them to bring about the movements. The bone marrow in the some bones is a site of a production of the blood cells. Blood is a fluid connective tissue containing plasma, red blood cells RBC, white blood cells WBC, and platelets. It is the main circulating fluid that helps in the transport of various substances. You will learn about this chapter in chapter 17 and 18 in detail. 7.1.3 Muscular tissue or muscle tissue. Each muscle is made up of many long cylindrical fibers arranged in a parallel arrays. These fibers are composed of numerous fine fibrils called myofibrils. Muscle fibers contract, that is shorten in responses to the stimulations, then relax, that is lengthen and return to their uncontracted state and uncontracted state in a coordinated fashion. Their action moves the body to adjust to the changes in the environment and maintain the positions of the various parts of the body. In general, muscles play an active role in all movements of the body. Muscles are of three types, that is skeletal muscles, smooth muscles, and cardiac muscles. Skeletal muscle. Skeletal muscle tissue is closely attached to the skeletal bones in a typical cell such as a biceps. Striped skeletal muscle fibers are bundled together in a parallel fashion. A sheath of tough connective tissue includes several bundles of muscle fibers. You will learn more about this muscle in chapter 20. The smooth muscle Fibers staple at both ends, fusiform and do not show license. Cell junctions hold them together and they are bundled together in a connective tissue sheath. The wall of internal organs such as the blood vessels, stomach and the intestine contains this type of muscle tissues. Smooth muscles are involuntary as their functioning cannot be directly controlled. We usually are not able to make it a contract merely by thinking about it as we can do with skeletal muscles. Cardiac muscle. Cardiac muscle tissue is a contractile tissue present only in the heart. A cell junctions fuse the plasma membrane of a cardiac muscle cells and make them stick together. Communication junctions, that is intercalated discs at some fusion points allow the cells to connect to contract as the unit. That is, when one cell receives a signal to contract, its neighboring cells are also stimulated to contract. 7.1.4 Neural tissue. Neural tissue exerts the greatest control over the body's responsiveness to changing the condition. Neurons, the unit of a neural system, are excitable cells. The neuroglial cells, which constitute the rest of the neural system, protect and support the neurons. Neuroglia makes up more than one half of the volume of a neural tissue in our body. When a neuron is suitably stimulated, dis- an electrical disturbance is generated which swiftly travels along its plasma membrane, allows of the disturbance at a neuron's ending or output zone, triggers events that may cause stimulations or inhibitions of adjacent neurons and other cells. You will study in detail in chapter 21. 7.2 sorry in chapter 18. 7.2 Organs and organ system. The basic tissues mentioned above organs to organize to form an organ which in turn associate to form an organ system in the multicellular organisms. Such an organization is essential for more efficient and better coordinated activities of a millions of cells constituting an organism. Each organ in our body is made up of one or more types of tissue. For example, our heart consists of four types of tissues, that is epithelial, connective, muscular and neural. We also notice after some careful studies that the complexity in organ and organ system displays a certain discernible trend. This discernible trend is called evolutionary trend. You will study in class 12th in detail. You are being introduced to morphology and anatomy of two organisms at a different evolutionary level to show their organizations and functioning. Morphology refers to the study of a form or externally visible features in the case of plants or microbes. The term morphology precisely means only in this case. In a case of animals, this refers to external appearance of the organs or parts of the body. The word anatomy conventionally is used for the study of a morphology of internal organs in animals. You will learn the morphology and anatomy of the cockroach and frog, representing the vertebrates and invertebrates. 7.3 Cockroach. Cockroaches are brown or black bodied animals that are included in class Insecta of phylum Arthropoda. Bright yellow, red, and green colored cockroaches have also been reported in tropical regions. Their size ranges from 1/4 inches to 3 inches, that is zero point 0.6 to 7.6 centimeter, and have a long antenna, legs, and the flat extensions of the upper body wall that consul's head. They they are nocturnal carnivores that live in a damp places throughout the world. They have become a residence of a human home and thus are serious pests and vectors of several diseases. 7.3.1 Morphology. The adult of the common species of a cockroach Paleplanata americana are about 34 to 53 cm long with the wings that extend beyond the tip of the abdomen in males. The body of a cockroach is segmented and divisible into three distinct regions, that is a head, thorax and abdomen. The entire body is covered by a hard chitinous exoskeleton brown in color. In each segment, exoskeleton has hardened plates called sclerids, that is turgids dorsally and sternids ventrally, that are joined to each other by a thin and flexible articular membrane, that is अल्ट्रोडियल मेम्ब्रेन. सही है. उसके बाद अगर अपन देखें, हाँ, head is a triangular in shape and lies bent anteriorly at right angles to longitudinal body axis. It is formed by the fusion of six segments and show a great mobility in all directions due to flexible neck. The head capsule bears the pair of compound eyes. A pair of thread-like antennae arises from membranous sockets lying in front of eyes. Antennae have sensory receptors that help in the monitoring the environment. Anterior end of the head bears appendages forming biting and chewing type of mouth parts. The mouth part consisting a labrum, upper lip, a pair of a mandible, a pair of a maxilla, and a labium, that is a lower lip. A median flexible lobe acting as a tongue, that is hypopharynx, lies within the cavity enclosed by the mouth parts. Thorax consists of three parts, that is prothorax, mesothorax and metathorax. The head is connected with the thorax by a short extension of the prothorax known as the neck. Each thoracic segment bears a pair of walking legs. The first pair of wings arises from the mesothorax and the second pair from metathorax. Forewings, that is a mesothoracic, called tagmina and opaque, dark and leathery, and cover the hind wing when at rest. The hind wings are transparent, membranous, and are used in a flight. The abdomen in both males and females consists of a 10 segment. In females, the seventh sternum is a boat shaped and together with the eighth and ninth sterna forms a broad or a genital pouch of whose anterior part contains female gynophores, spermatical pores and a collateral glands. In males, genital pouch or a chambers lies at the hind end of abdomen, bounded dorsally by ninth and tenth tulga and ventrally by ninth sternum. It contains dorsally anus, ventrally male genital pole, and gonapophysis. The male bears a pair of short thread-like anal styles which are absent in females. In both sexes, the tenth segment bears a pair of jointed filamentous structures called anal sulci. Sorry. Anatomy. The alimentary canal present in the body cavity is divided into three regions: foregut, midgut, and hindgut. The mouth opens into a short tubular phalanx leading to a narrow tubular passage called esophagus. This is turn opens into a sac-like structure called crop, used for storing of a food. The crop is followed by a gizzard or a plovent- proventriculus. It is an outer layer of a thick circular muscle and a thick inner cuticle forming a six highly chitinous plates called teeth. Gizzard help in the grinding the food particles. The entire foregut is lined by a cuticle. A ring of a 6 to 8 blind tubules called a hepatic or gastric theca Theca is present at the junction of a foregut and a midgut, which secretes a digestive juices. At the junction of a midgut and a hindgut is present another link of 100 to 150 yellow-colored thin filamentous Malpighian tubules. They help in the removal of excretory products from the hemalo Hemolymph. The hindgut is broader than the midgut and is differentiated into a ileum, colon, and rectum. The rectum opens out through the anus. Sorry. The blood vascular system of a cockroaches is an open type. Blood vessels are poorly developed and open into the space that is hemosole. Visceral organs located in the hemosole are are bathed in blood, that is hemolymph. The hemolymph is composed of a colorless plasma and hemocytes. Heart of a cockroach consists of an elongated muscular tube lying along mid-dorsal line of a thorax and abdomen. It is differentiated into a funnel-shaped chambers with ostia on either side. Blood from the sinuses enter heart through a ostia and is pumped anteriorly anteriorly to sinuses again. The respiratory system consists of a network of a trachea that opens through the 10 pair of small holes called spelacles present on the lateral side of the body. Thin branching Thin branching tubes, that is tracheal tubes, are subdivided into tracheoles, carry oxygen from the air to all parts. The opening of the spiracles is regulated by the sphincters. Exchange of gases takes place at the tracheole by diffusion. Excretion is performed by a Malpighian tubules. Each tubule is lined by a glandular and ciliated cell. They absorb nitrogenous waste products and convert them into uric acid, which is excreted out through the hindgut. Therefore, this insect is called ulicotelic. In addition, the fat body nephrocytes and a Ullicose gland also help in the excretion. The nervous system of the cockroach consists of a series of fused segmentally arranged of a ganglia joined by a pair longitudinal connectives on the ventral side. The ganglia lies in the thorax and six in the abdomen. The nervous system of cockroach is splayed throughout the body. The head holds a bit of a nervous system while the rest is situated along the ventral, that is a belly side part of its body. So now you can understand that if the head of a cockroach is cut off, it will be still alive for as long as 1 week. In the head lesion, the plane is represented by a supraesophageal ganglion which supplies nerves to antennae and compound eyes. In cockroach, the sense organs are antennae eyes, maxillary pulps, labial pulp, anal sulci, etc. The compound eye are situated at the dorsal surface of the head. Each eye consists of about 2000 hexagonal omatidia, that is singular omatadium, with the help of a several omatidia. A cockroach can receive several images of an object. This kind of a vision is known as a mosaic vision with a more sensitivity but less resolution. Being a common during night, hence called nocturnal vision. Cockroaches are dioecious and both sexes are well-developed reproductive organs. Male reproductive system consists of a pair of testes, one lying on each lateral side in the fourth or sixth abdominal segment. From each testis arises a thin vas deferens which opens into a ejaculatory duct through the seminal vesicle. The ejaculatory ducts open the male genophore situated ventral to anus. A characteristic mushroom-shaped gland is present in the sixth or seventh abdominal segment which functions as an accessory reproductive gland. The external genitalia are represented by the male gonophysis or a paleomere, that is chitinous asymmetrical structures surrounding the male genophore. The sperm are stored in the seminal vesicles and are glued together in the form of the bundles called spermatophores, which are discharged during the copulation. The female reproductive system consists of two large ovules lying laterally in the second and the sixth abdominal segment. Each ovule is formed of a group of eight ovarian tubules or ovules containing a chain of developing ova. Oviducts of each ovule unite into a single median oviduct, also called vagina, which opens into the genital chamber. A pair of spermatica is present in the sixth segment, which opens into the genital chamber. Sperm are transferred through the spermatophores. Their fertilized eggs are encased in a capsule called ootheca. Ootheca is a dark reddish or blackish brown capsule about 3 to 8, that is 8 mm long. They are dropped or glued to a suitable surface, usually in a crack or service of a higher relative humidity near a food sources. On an average, females produce 9 to 10 oothekas, each containing 14 to 16 eggs. The development of a pea, that is a Periplaneta americana, is a paleometabolous, meaning there is a development through the nymphal stage. The nymphs looks very much like adults. The nymph grows by a molting about 13 times to reach the adult form. The next to last nymphal stage has a wingspreads, but only adult cockroaches have wings. Many species of cockroaches are wild and are of no known economic importance yet. A few species thrive in and around the human habitat. They are pests because they spoil food and contaminate it with their smelly extracta. They can transmit a variety of bacterial diseases by contaminating food materials. Then frogs. Frogs can live both on land in and in a freshwater and belong to class Amphibia of a phylum Chordata. The most common species of a frog found in India is a Lana tagrina. They do not have a constant body temperature, that is, their body temperature varies with the temperature of the environment. Such animals are called cold-blooded or poikilotherms. You might have also noticed changes in the color of the flocks while they are in grasses and on dry lands. They have the ability to change the color to hide them from their enemies, that is camouflage. This protective coloration is called mimicry. You may have also known that flocks are not seen during peak summer and winter. During this period, they take shelter in deep burrows to protect them from extreme heat and cold. This is known as a summer sleep, that is estivation, and a winter sleep, that is hibernation respectively. Morphology. Have you ever touched the skin of a frog? The frog's skin is smooth and slippery due to the presence of a mucus. The skin is always maintained in a main, maintained in a moist condition. The color of a dorsal side of a body is generally olive green with a dark irregular spot. On the ventral side of a skin is a uniformly pale yellow. The frog never drinks water but absorbs it through the skin. Body of frog is divisible into head and trunk. A neck and a tail are absent. Above the mouth, a pair of nostrils is present. Eyes are bulged and covered by a nictitating membrane that protects them while in water. On either side of eyes, a membranous tympet- tympanum ear receives a sound signals. The forelimbs and hind limbs helps in a swimming, walking, leaping and bellowing. The hind limb end a end in a five digit, and they have a larger and a muscular than the forelimb that end in a four digit. Feet have Feet have webbed digits that help in a swimming. Flocks exhibit a sexual dimorphism. Male flocks can be distinguished by the presence of a sound producing vocal sacs and also a copulatory pad on the first digit of the forelimb, which are absent in female flocks. Anatomy is a cavity of a flux accommodated different organ systems such as a digestive, circulatory, respiratory, nervous, excretory, and reproductive. The digestive system consists of a alimentary canal and digestive glands. The alimentary canal is short because flocks are carnivores and hence the length of intestine is reduced. The mouth opens into the buccal cavity that leads to the esophagus through the phalanx. Esophagus is a short tube that opens into the stomach, which in turn continues as a intestine, rectum, and finally opens outside by the cloaca. Liver secretes a bile that is stored in the gallbladder. Pancreas, a digestive gland, produces a pancreatic juice containing digestive enzymes. Food is captured by a bilobed tongue. Digestion of a food takes place by the action of HCl and gastric juices secreted from the walls of the stomach. Partially digested food called chyme is passed from the stomach to the first part of the small intestine is duodenum. The duodenum receives the bile from gallbladder and pancreatic juices from the pancreas through a common bile duct. Bile impulsifies fat and pancreatic juices digest carbohydrate and proteins. Final digestion takes place in the intestine. Digested food is absorbed by the numerous finger-like folds in the inner wall of the intestine called villi and microvilli. The undigested solid waste moves into the rectum and pass out through the cloaca. Frogs respire on a land and in water by the two different methods. In water, skin acts as aquatic respiratory organs, that is cutaneous respiration. Dissolved oxygen in the water is exchanged through the skin by diffusion. On land, the buccal cavity, skin, and lungs act as the respiratory organs. The respiration by lungs is called pulmonary respiration. The lungs are a pair of elongated, pink colored sac like structure called the upper part of the trunk region, that is thorax. Air enters through the nostrils into the buccal cavity and then to lungs. During the aspiration and hibernation, gaseous exchange takes place through the skin. The vascular system of a frog is a well-developed closed type. Frogs have a lymphatic system also. The blood vascular system involves heart, blood vessels, and blood. The lymphatic system consists of a lymph channels, and lymph nodes. Heart is a muscular structure situated in the upper part of the body cavity. It has three chambers, two atria, and one ventricle, and is covered by the membrane called a pericardium. A triangular structure called sinus venosus joins the right atrium. It receives blood through the major veins called a vena cava. The ventricle opens into the sac-like conus arteriosus on the ventral side of the heart. The blood from the heart carried to all parts of the body by the arterial, that is arterial system. The veins collect the blood from the different part of the body to the heart and form the venous system. Special venous connections between the liver and the intestine as well as the kidney and the lower part of the body are present in a frog. The former is called hepatic portal system and the latter is called a renal portal system. The blood is composed of plasma and cells. The blood cells are RBC, red blood cells, and erythrocytes, WBC, white blood cells or leukocytes, and platelets. RBCs are nucleated and contain lead-colored pigment, namely hemoglobin. The lymph is different from the blood. It lacks few proteins and RBCs. The blood carries nutrients, gases, and water to respective sites during the circulation. The circulation of a blood is achieved by the pumping action of the muscular heart. The elimination of a nitrogenous waste is carried out by a well-developed excretory system. The excretory system consists of a pair of a kidney, ureter, and a cloaca and a urinary bladder. These are the compact dark lead and a bean-like structure situated in the little posteriorly in the body cavity on both sides of the vertebral column. Each kidney is composed of a several structural and a functional units called a uriniferous tubules or nephrons. Two ureters emerge from the kidney in the male frog. The ureters act as a urogenital duct which opens into the cloaca. In females, the ureters and the oviduct open separately in the cloaca. A thin-walled urinary bladder is present ventral to the rectum, which also opens in the cloaca. The frog excretes urea and thus is a ureotelic animal. Excretory wastes are carried by the blood into the kidney, whereas it is separated and excreted. Sorry, the system for the control and coordination is highly evolved in the frog. It includes both the neural system and the endocrine glands. The chemical coordination of various organs of the body is achieved by hormones which are secreted by the endocrine glands. The prominent endocrine glands found in the frog are pituitary, thyroid, parathyroid, thymus, pineal body, pancreatic islets, adrenal, and gonads. The nervous system is organized into the central nervous system, brain and spinal cord, and peripheral nervous system, cranial and spinal nerves, and an autonomic nervous system, sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous system. There are 10 pairs of cranial nerves arising from the brain. Brain is enclosed in a bony structure called a brain box, that is cranium. The brain is divided into forebrain, midbrain, and hindbrain. Forebrain includes all fatty lobes, paired cerebral hemispheres, and unpaired diencephalon. The midbrain is characterized by a pair of optic lobes. Hindbrain consists of a cerebral cerebellum and medulla oblongata. The medulla oblongata passes out through the foramen magnum and continues into the spinal cord, which enclosed in the vertebral column. Frog has different types of sense organs, namely organ of a touch, that is sensory papillary taste buds, smell nasal epithelium, vision eyes, and hearing temptum with internal ears. Out of these, eyes and internal ears are well organized structure, and the rest are a cellular aggregations around the nerve endings. Eyes in a flux are a pair of spherical structures situated in the orbit in a skull. These are simple eyes that is possessing only one unit. External ear is absent in a flock, and only tympanum can be seen externally. This ear is a, this ear i- this ear is an organ of a hearing as well as a balancing, that is equilibrium. Flocks are a well-organized male and female reproductive system. Male reproductive organ consists of a pair of a yellowish ovate testes which are found adherent to the upper part of the kidney by a double fold of a peritoneum called a mesolechium. Vesifluencia are 10 to 12 in number that arise from the testes. They enter the kidney on their side and opens into the Bidder's canal. Finally, it communicates with the urogenital duct and that comes out the kidney and opens into the cloaca. The cloaca is a small median chamber that is used to pass a fecal matter. Urine and sperms are exterior. The female reproductive organs include a pair of ovaries. The ovaries are situated near kidney, and there is no functional unit of kidneys. A pair of oviduct arising from the ovaries opens into the cloaca. Separately, a mature female can lay 2500 to 3000 ova at a time. Fertilization is external and takes place in the water. Development involves a larval stage called a tadpole. Tadpole undergoes the metamorphosis to form the adult. Frogs are beneficial for mankind because they eat insects and protect the crop. Frogs maintain ecological balance because this serves as an important link of a food chain and a food web in the ecosystem. In some countries, the muscular legs of a frog are used as a food by man. Then last summary: cell, tissue, organ and organ system split up the work in a way that ensures the survival of the body as a whole and exhibit a division of a label. A tissue is defined as a group of cells along with the intercellular substances performing one or more functions in the body. Epithelia are the sheet-like tissues lining the body's surface and its cavities, ducts and tubes. Epithelia have a one-free surface facing a body fluid or the outside environment. Their cells are structurally and functionally connected by the junctions. Diverse types of connective tissue bind together, support strength, protect, and insulate other tissues in the body. Soft connective tissues consists of protein fibers as well as a variety of cells arranged in a Ground substances, cartilage, bone, blood, and adipose tissue are specialized connective tissues. Cartilage and bone are both the structural materials. Blood is a fluid tissue with a transport of functions. Adipose tissue is a reservoir of a stored energy. Muscle tissue, which can be contracted that is shortened in response to the stimulation, helps in the movement of a body and specific body parts. Skeletal muscle is the muscle of a tissues attached to the bones. Smooth muscles are composed components of a lateral organs. Cardiac muscles makes up the contractile walls of a heart. Connective tissue covers all three types of tissues. Nervous tissue exerts the latest control over the responses of the body. Neurons are the basic units of a neural system. The body of a cockroach, that is Pelleplaneta americana, is covered by a chitinous exoskeleton. It is divided into head, thorax, and abdomen. Segments bear joint appendages. There are three segments of a thorax, each bearing a pair of walking legs. Two pair of wings are present, one pair each on a second and a third segment. There are 10 segments in abdomen. Alimentary canal is well developed with the mouth surrounded by the mouth parts. A pharynx, esophagus, glob, gizzard, midgut, hindgut, and anus. Hepatic cloaca Hepatic cloaca are present at the junction of a foregut and midgut. Malpighian tubules are present at the junction of midgut and hindgut are help in excretion. A pair of a salivary gland is present near a club. The blood vascular system of open type. Respiration takes place by a network of trachea. Trachea opens outside with the spirals. Nervous system is represented by the segmentally arranged ganglia and the ventral nerve cord. A pair of testes is present in the fourth and sixth segment and ovarian in a second and sixth segment. Fertilization is internal. Female produces 9 to 10 ootheca bearing the developing embryos. After rupturing of a single ootheca, 16th young ones called nymph come out. The Indian bull frog Lana tigrina is a common frog found in India. Body is covered by a skin. Mucous glands are present in the skin which is highly vascularized and help in the respiration in water and on land. Body is divided into head and trunk. A muscular tongue is present which is bilobed at the tip and is used in capturing the prey. The alimentary canal consists of esophagus, stomach, intestine, and the rectum, which opens into the cloaca. The main digestive glands are liver and pancreas. It can respire in water through the skin and through the lungs on land. The circulatory system is closed with a single circulation. RBCs are nucleated. Nervous system is organized into a central, peripheral, and autonomic nervous system. The organ of a urogenital system are kidney and a urinogenital ducts which opens into the cloaca. The male reproductive organ is a pair of testes. The female reproductive organ is a pair of ovaries. A female lays 2500 to 3000 over at a time. The fertilization and the development is are the external. The eggs hatch into the tadpoles which metamorphose into frog. Here we complete the structure organization in animals. अपन ने ऑलरेडी ह्यूमन फिजियोलॉजी कंप्लीट कर ली है और आज अपन ने स्ट्रक्चर ऑर्गेनाइजेशन एनिमल्स भी कंप्लीट कर लिया है. ह्यूमन फिजियोलॉजी की लिंक मैं डिस्क्रिप्शन बॉक्स में दे देता हूँ. जिन्होंने नहीं देता है वो प्लीज़ देख लेना. और लेक्चर कैसा लगा प्लीज़ कमेंट बॉक्स में बता देना. और मैं क्या सुधार और मैं खुद में क्या इम्प्रूव कर सकता हूँ ये भी बता देना. मैंने एक पोस्ट डाली थी जिसमें पोल है कि अब अपन ह्यूमन फिजियोलॉजी अब अपने 12th जूलॉजी की सिर्फ 2 चैप्टर बाकी है, दैट इज एनिमल किंगडम और बायोमोलिक्यूल. उसके बाद अपने को क्या स्टार्ट करना है, 12th की जूलॉजी कंटिन्यू रखनी है या 11th की बॉटनी पहले कंप्लीट कर दे, तो प्लीज़ इसका आंसर पोल में दे देना। थैंक यू फॉर वॉचिंग।